Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments now. I hope that you're able to see me and hear me. Let me know if all is well. I'm in a different location today, so the internet may not be as good as I need it to be. So let me know if things are a little slow. All right. Hello there on TikTok. Hi there, buddy. Now, today I'm going to focus only on questions. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments so I can answer those. Cancel's taking longer than usual. So you'd have to look at their average processing times. That's how I can look to see what's going on with that particular center. And yes, some centers may take longer than others, just depending on their workload. Right. And let me just put here, I'm going to move this for a quick minute. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. Hi there in Belize. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Put those questions in the comments. You, do you need to submit the official original I-130 receipt notice when filing the I-765 and the I-864 form? No, you can do copies. So you can make a copy and include that in your package when you're filing. After, if you're not filing your adjustment of status along with your I-130 petition, you're filing those afterwards. We've used a copy and it's been fine. They accept the copies to show and be able to attach your adjustment of status and your work permits application to the petition. Hello there on YouTube. Go ahead, put the questions in the comments. Facebook, hi, it's nice to see you there too. All right. Hi there, Margaret. Nice to see you. I'm in a different location. It looks like things are going well with the internet connection, so that's good. But if you start to notice a lag, let me know. Hello, please. How else can I prove that we live together for VAWA if my name was not on anything? So in this case, we do have to be very creative. It is possible, but it's going to depend on what you have in regards to living together. Now, it can be affidavits from friends and family. If you have nothing else, it can be showing mail. Going to the same address. Now, don't steal anybody's mail. Like, don't go steal the spouse's mail. But if you can click a picture of any kind of joint documents or mail, the envelope of your spouse's mail coming to the same address as yours, that may be one way. But we found creative ways to be able to show it, but you have to, it's really on a case by case basis. They tend to accept, be more accepting of very well be a part of the mistreatment is that they don't put your name on anything. They make sure that you don't have that power. And so that's where we have to figure out then what are some alternative options to be able to prove that you you live together. All right, I'm going to move it here. So I'm trying to see all the questions. I got my 130 petition approved 9 days ago, but the I-485 still in review. Is that a problem? No, it's not necessarily a problem. Just relax. We've had that happen as well. And I'd say about a month or two later, we got the adjustment of status approval and the green card came in the mail. Hello, can someone get married, get refused an interview in his home country? Is it hard? It's possible. It just depends on what's in your case. You want to be prepared, you want to have all the evidence available to make sure that doesn't happen. Can is it possible to get a green card sponsorship from an employer while waiting for 3 years in a T status? Yes, it is possible if you can go ahead. Now, keep in mind, one thing you have to note is with the T status, you can adjust status to green card on your own on T status. If the employer, and it takes about a year and a half to 2 years to get the green card from there. If an employer wants to sponsor you, they're going to treat it separately from the T status. They're going to, for example, if you had any inadmissibilities, that means you had some kind of violations that occurred before, and then you got it forgiven through the T status. For example, if you have a permanent bar, if you claimed false citizenship on an employment application, or you had misrepresentation in the past, those are permanent bars. If you get for You can be forgiven for those under the T status. But if you get forgiveness for those under T status, it allows you to then move on to get your green card through T status without them holding the permanent bars against you. But if you go through the employer and you have those violations on your record, they are now going to hold you to those again. So keep in mind that T status gets rid of a lot of the issues you had in the past, and that may come up with a T status. For example, with T status, if you enter the country without permission and then the employer wants to sponsor you, they're going to look back at that and say, but you entered without permission. They're going to hold that against you, right? Because they're going to go by the requirements under the employment based green card. Where am I based? We're in Boca Raton. We also have the office in Delray Beach, but we represent clients all over the country. So we can represent, where no matter where you are, we can help you. Can I work before getting my work permit after filing marriage-based green card without it affecting? Great question. It depends. Now, if you're married to a permanent resident, they're going to hold that against you if you're going through adjustment of status. If you are married to a US citizen, they are not going to hold that against you. And it's very important to be completely honest on your application, because here's where it bites you in the butt. I've had clients who at first were not very straightforward because they're afraid that it's going to affect them. And I have to explain that it's not going to affect you. And you have to be truthful. But what will come back to bite you in the butt is if you tell a lie on the application, it wasn't going to be held against you anyway, and you tell a lie on the application, then they can fine you for misrepresentation and you'll be in trouble. You either have to get a waiver or you might be permanently barred. And a waiver is not always approved. So keep that in mind. Can I get driver's license from other states while I file asylum in other states? Yes, it's possible. It depends on what the requirements are in the state. My American citizen husband passed a few months ago. Can I get a visa waiver to travel to America? I'm so sorry that happened. I'm so sorry, and my condolences. Unfortunately, they don't provide waivers based on that, but you can submit an emergency visa request and, state the reason that you need to enter the US, to attend your spouse's funeral. So that's possible. I'm eligible for T status if I come across borders and work without permit over hours of work and low paying, or is it only for people having status in the US? Great question. This is for if you have status, if you don't have status, if you cross the border without permission, if you came in with a visa, if you overstay, T status works for you. They don't look at that. If you enter the country without permission, we can apply for forgiveness. So keep that in mind. Um, how are you? I'm very good. Thanks for asking. I'm from Bangladesh. I want to apply for America. So that's a very, very broad statement. We need to talk to you in a consultation. If the US citizen wife is 21 years older than her husband, would that affect VAWA? No, no. If it doesn't, age doesn't matter here. What matters is, was it a bona fide marriage? That means you entered the marriage in good faith, you meant to live a life together, and was there mistreatment? If those two exist, then you can qualify for VAWA. How long after you get 2-year green card can you apply for your 10-year? Great question. We just got an approval on a 2-year green card, and we applied, we got a head start for our client. Our client was in an abusive an abusive marriage, and she was just a few months into her marriage and realized that this was going to be a nightmare. She wanted out. So we went ahead and we filed this I-751 to get her tenure because she became separated from the spouse. We filed the I-751 a whole year and some months before it expired. And now she has the approval. So she has gotten her 10-year green card even before or shortly, very shortly after it expired. So that has given her a head start in the processing times. So if the point here is, if you're separated from your spouse, you are divorced from your spouse, or they're mistreating you, at that point, you can go ahead and apply for a waiver to apply on your own, and do that before even the expiration date. So you can apply for this anytime before or even after the card has expired. So throughout the wherever you are in the process, you can apply for a waiver to apply on your own. What does I-485 hold in abeyance? How does it work on the basis of VAWA? So if you've been following me, you've heard me say it. You can switch if you're in the marriage-based process and you want to be able to apply on your own without involving the spouse. You can switch from the marriage-based process to VAWA, and that enables you to continue with your I-485 where you don't have to reapply for an I-485. You can continue on your work permit. You can continue as usual. Now, the way we do that is by asking immigration to hold the applications in abeyance. Basically means put this in place, put it on hold, don't process it until you focus on the petition that we file. Then connect the I-45 to the petition that we file. It's very important to get legal representation through the process because it can be complex, especially when we have to follow up with immigration on the status of the request to hold in abeyance. So don't do that on your own. Get in touch so that you can do this right. I-485 pending, I-360 pending, I-601 pending, I-765 approved, I-131 approved. It's been 2 years and some months. So VAWA takes, I would say, 2.5 years to 3 years to get the decision and then move on to the green card. So just hang on. The I-765 has been approved. That's 5 years. I-131 approved, 5 years. So you definitely have the tools to be able to gain independence, move forward while you wait for the green card to come. If USCIS found out about fraud marriage, what is the best way to do it? What is the best thing to do? That's tough. And this is where I really say, don't do it. Don't do it. It really is at this point when you are caught doing a fraudulent marriage, it really is your fault at this point. And it's how to rectify the situation at that point, and it's very hard to do it. So this is why I present options to clients that they don't have to even think about fraudulent marriage. I was talking to someone who told me that before I was able to qualify them for a benefit that will get them to the green card without getting married, they told me they're so happy they knew about this. They didn't know about the options we offer. And of course, people try to take advantage of immigrants by giving numbers to them, quoting them for things like business marriage, so-called business marriages. No matter how you try to pretty it up, it is not legal and it will get you into trouble. And I heard that the going rate for these types of things are like tens of thousands. 40, I've heard 40,000, between 40 to $50,000. And sometimes they throw some extra conditions in there, like kids and so forth. That's really crazy. Seeing that we offer services for much less than that, legal options for our clients that empowers our clients. When you end up in these kind of business marriages, it sucks the energy out of you. It disempowers you because they start to blackmail you for more money. If they want to, they can do that. Then you face the risk of you're subject to them, subject to their demands, and now you're deep in it. You are, neck high in that stuff, and you feel like you can't get out of it. And then as a result of that, you bear the risk of being caught, either being caught by immigration and being arrested and being permanently barred, or you are at the mercy of somebody who, in most cases, they're unscrupulous, and sometimes it even turns into a trafficking situation. So if you are in this situation, the best thing you can do, it has now officially become complicated. We need to talk to you to figure out if there's a way to get out of this, to fix this, because there's no getting out of it. Is there a way to rectify this situation? Now, as I said before, that this kind of situation where you ended up in a business marriage that went wrong, if it turned into a trafficking situation where they promised you this for that, and then you found yourself being forced to do acts against your will, blackmailed, forced to do work or labor for them, that may be T. And in this case, the T status can, with a waiver, it can get you forgiven for what happened. But it's very complicated, and we have to understand your exact facts to be able to. So keep in mind that don't do that. Don't pay all of that money for just more risk. We offer legal services, and we offer it to clients who qualify for them. So you're going to be a lot more empowered. I submitted RFE to USCIS 49 days ago. They acknowledged they received it, but no update. It's normal. It's really dependent on their wait time. I-745 approved before I-131 and I-360. I'm thinking this is the I-765. And yeah, that's good. Congratulations. You have your work permit, but it means they're going to issue the travel document later on. Hi, attorney. Can a person get VAWA approval, I-360s, even with the permanent bar? It's possible. Yes, it's possible. In some cases, you do. Now, with a permanent bar, what you do have to show is you have to show that when you, and permanent bar, I'm thinking meant you entered the country, stayed, and then left and returned again on without permission. That's a permanent bar. That leads to a permanent bar. And also if you got deported and then re-entered. And it is possible to overcome the permanent bar if you can show that the abuse was connected to your re-entry. So it is absolutely possible. I filed VAWA without I-485, but one pending via marriage. Can they hold it at the interview? Yes, yes. That should have been worked on. So when we are doing VAWA and we're making the switch from VAWA to marriage base, you shouldn't just have your I-485 linger in there, because they will call you for the interview and they may very well deny your I-485. You need to ask them to change it, the I-485, to be connected to the VAWA. And when you do that, you continue to get your work permit. So you don't have to start over. If you don't have an attorney, give us a call or talk to your attorney about that possibility. DS-260 submitted documents are qualified since May. When might I expect appointment? So it might be a year, another year of waiting. Unfortunately, that's the pattern I'm seeing. How long does it take to get a work permit when married to a citizen? I said 3 to 6 months, and I've gotten it in 2 weeks. Can you get a travel document if you get a work permit on the T status? No. Now, on the T status, if you're approved for T status, you can get a travel document. But keep in mind that's a separate application process. You have to apply for it. So, bear that in mind. How long does it take to get T visa approved? About 1 year. I'd say 1 year to 18 months. And I'm noticing that the processing time is going a little over 12 months. Because why? Because these, as attorneys, more of us are becoming educated about the T status, and we are filing these. I don't do consultations without determining whether my client qualifies for T status. T status can help my clients where they have no other options. But bear this in mind. On August 28th, they changed the policy to allow T visa applicants to get the work permit earlier. So now we could see a matter of months to get the work permit while they wait for T status. So get on it, get on it. If you start filing abandonment and work things out with your spouse, can they continue the adjustment of status? We did K1 visa. That is complicated, and it really you have to determine this from a strategic point of view. I would have to deal with that on a case by case basis. But here's what I want to say to you: you work things out with your spouse. But who's to say this isn't going to happen again, right? Where, say, you decide to withdraw your I-360 and go back to the marriage based process. But do you trust your spouse that much that you would do that? You now you're privileged enough to have a process where no matter what happens with your spouse, you can continue on your own process. That is empowerment for you. So I would say, why would you want to go back to something that you cannot trust? And sometimes the spouse, maybe they found out. I keep this confidential. I tell my clients, don't tell the spouse that they're applying for this. But what if they found out you're applying for VAWA and they want to make sure you cancel that process so that they can get that control back again? And then do this all over to you, all over again, and then you lose your credibility because you withdraw the petition for VAWA, and now you go back to marriage based, right? And now maybe you have to go back to VAWA, but now as you're doing that, they're questioning your credibility. Now you have to provide more of an explanation to them. Do you really want to be in that situation? I mean, you don't lose staying with the VAWA process. You do not lose. I mean, I have had situations where, yes, they have stayed in the marriage for a number of reasons, but that didn't cause their VAWA to be denied. Do you need to have proof of entrance to move from green card to citizen? Now, if you got your green card and they already resolved the issues of how you enter the country, you should be fine for citizenship. What does it mean if NVC say you're becoming documentarily qualified? Congratulations. It means that they have everything they need to be able to schedule the interview. How do I get a consultation with you? Go call the office now. So if you look across the screen, you should see the number. Call that number right now. They'll be able to help you, or you can look in the description of this video on YouTube, Facebook, and click on the link there, and it should take you to the link tree where there's at the very top, there's a button to confirm your own appointment. What's your success rate on the T visa? So I'm happy to inform you that right now we have not had any denials. Knock on wood. I know we have a saying, and I don't know if this is a saying across the board, but in Jamaica we say knock on wood. So we have obviously a very high success rate. We're very good at what we do. Thank you so much, New Knowledge. I appreciate that. Now, we work hard here at ST Law Office and we make sure to qualify our clients. So, my boss refused to pay me my salary. So, I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you, or you can talk to Attorney Diana, Attorney Bria. The three of us work very closely together to determine whether you qualify for this and to move forward. If your boss is refusing to pay you and you have to show up to work every day and get and continue working even though you're not getting your money, they're delaying your pay, that sounds like a T. But we'd have to talk to you about more of the facts. But I always say that's a start to understand to know whether you need to call me. You need to know that if your boss is not paying you and you find yourself keep having to keep working, and sometimes they may even be intimidating you into keep to working, that's T. That is a potential T status. You're the victim. You may be the victim of trafficking in this case. And I know, and this is a lot of this has to do with educating people about what trafficking is, because a big part of the problem is a lot of people don't even realize that they're being trafficked. They're in the middle of the situation and they minimize what they're going through and they think they have no rights. As an immigrant, you have rights. He fired me because son was sick and refused to give me pay. Absolutely. Give us a call. We can help you. Give us a call. We want to hear from you. Can one apply for NIW if the person uses the SSN for DoorDash as international student? So, NIW, when first of all, if you are violating the terms of your visa, uh, which usually, as I'm not sure if you are, but if you are working as a DoorDash person and you're not supposed to be working as a student, that's going to go against you for the NIW at the adjustment of status stage. NIW is dependent on your level of education and your experience. So, another question would be if you're currently working in DoorDash, they would potentially look at that as some form of conflict, against your education and your achievements, your experience, and what your goals are. The main thing with the national interest waiver is that you have to achieve a goal of substantial merit and national importance. And as you can tell, that takes a lot of experience, a lot of time, a lot of time, a lot of your talents to do that, to be able to have that vision, to be able to build that vision. So, that could potentially be a problem if that's spending your time doing DoorDash work, then that may be a problem, right? That may conflict with the credibility of the application. But I don't know what your situation is, so this is where it's very important to call, have a consultation with us. Can I work, stay and do documentation when I come in with a tourist visa? Do not work on a visitor's visa for sure. And there are different ways to get your green card, but I have to know what your qualifications. You have to qualify through employment, as I said before, through education, like your national interest, like based on national interest waiver. Are there humanitarian means that you can qualify for, like asylum? So it depends. Does your abusive partner get in trouble when you file VAWA? Absolutely not. I can say that with complete confidence. Immigration does not, at that point, they're not looking at, let's see, are the police investigating? Let's give the police a call. They're not doing that. They can't do that, by the way. Under law, they cannot call third parties and ask them questions or let them know about the application. So no, they don't get into trouble. They have to keep it confidential and look at the application in front of them. I only have schedule of work, but no proof of paying low minimum wage, but my friends work with me. So what I say here is if you the call me. If you're going through this, call me. Don't overthink it about the evidence that you have. We work with you on that, right? The evidence, the most important evidence is going to be your statement. It's going to be what is here, right? What do you remember? The details that you remember. And then you put that to paper. That's going to be the most important evidence. Now, if then we talk to you about other evidence that you do have. But that's why I said don't overthink it. Let us help you do the thinking, right? That's why we're here. That's why we would be your attorney to strategize and do the thinking. Do you know if the embassy ever denied a parent of a US citizen an immigrant visa? It's possible if they're inadmissible. Renewal EAD through VAWA, they received on August 14th, 2024. Work permit expired September 19th, 2024. I haven't received receipt yet. How long? Thanks. So about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks for that. Okay, could you please let me know for T visa? Can I show what's appointment screenshot for proof, but my WhatsApp doesn't show year and month? Is it okay to show us proof? So this is very specific, and I definitely don't cannot give you personal legal advice. This is what we do. We do that part of it. So I say if you're gonna file this, make sure you use an attorney and give us a call. Now, the standard is any credible evidence. So, if you present it in a way that the immigration officer can accept it as being believable and credible, then you have a shot at proving it. Now, if that's all you have. I can't give you personalized legal advice, but if that's all you have and it's absolutely credible evidence, then you don't lose there. Can I work, stay, and do my documenting? So I answered that. How long to get green card interview through VAWA once your case has been moved to a local office? Good news. Yes, you may be scheduled for an interview, but if your application is all complete, you may just get your green card in the mail. I was wrongfully dismissed. So T status does not necessarily, you're not necessarily qualified for T status if you're wrongly dismissed. That would more fall under employment based. But what I can say is if it is a retaliation against you, if your eventual dismissal was a retaliation against you because maybe you stood up after them trying to intimidate you, not pay you, force you to do work that you didn't do, force you to do 10 other tasks that you didn't agree to be hired for, and then maybe you stood your ground and they said, okay, you're fired, then that can potentially qualify you for T status. So it's definitely maybe a red flag, but we have to talk to you. This is definitely one of those situations where we have to get the facts from you. Last update on 820, how long it takes to get email for interview, a year to a year and a half if you're outside of the country. What's the time frame for a decision for adjustment of status after biometrics they reuse based on VAWA? So I would say about 6 months after the VAWA approval. Good evening. I-130 was approved over 1 week, so I answered that. Uh, you're welcome, Mel. Should I stop working while I'm applying for T visa in same place? So if you're in a trafficking situation and you can escape, you can leave. Definitely. Your well-being is important. You are not required to stay in the trafficking situation to get T visa. So please do not take this applying for the T. And this is where a deal, you need an attorney. Um, don't do this alone. You need an attorney because if you are the only thing that's keeping you in this situation is because you feel like it's going to stop you from getting your status, then it's you're not you're still continuing to hurt. And the whole point of this is whether you've escaped the situation or you're still in the situation, you can get the T status. I've gotten this for my clients that escaped 20 years ago from the trafficking situation, right? They're still here, but they continue to suffer because they don't have their papers. They continue to face people who take advantage of them because they don't have their papers. They still need help to recover from what happened to them. And that's why they're still here. They're stuck. That's why they get their papers. So give us a call and we can work with you here. But please don't think you have to stay in this situation. Don't think you have to continue to hurt because you won't get your T status. That's not true. What can I do when VAWA case was denied because of divorce certificate from my country was not valid? I'm so sorry about that. Now, it's really that's a sticky situation, right? Because what it comes down to is the fact that they're saying your marriage wasn't valid anyway, and because your marriage was not valid, they you don't qualify for VAWA. If that is true, we'd have to look at alternatives. So give us a call. Let's talk about alternatives here. There may be alternatives, like, for example, if you're in a situation where your spouse subjected you to domestic abuse and violence, at the same time, they were forcing you to do things against your will or to work in their house or business or to, take care of kids that weren't yours, or, just basically force you to do things that you did not agree to, but you were in fear of leaving because they threatened you, or you're in fear of defying their orders because of the bad consequences of abuse, potential violence, threats, there's the alternative here, which is the T status. So, and we've gotten it for our clients who experienced domestic abuse, but they were forced to do things against their will. So that put them in a trafficking situation, and they weren't married though, and they were able to get their status anyway. So it's absolutely possible. Can you get a green card without getting married? Yes. Yes, I've done it for my clients. How about C1D? So C1D, you qualify for VAWA. You also can qualify for T status. So keep that in mind. Please, what can I do when a VAWA case was denied because of, as I answered that. Can a U.S. citizen wife ask the immigration to revoke her husband's permanent resident card because they're having issues in the house? No, no, they can't. The wife does not have the power to tell immigration to just take away the green card. But if the wife is threatening to do something to sabotage you as a green card holder, like, for example, contact immigration to tell them a lie that your marriage was fake, believe them. They may follow through with that threat. And that's where I would say be very careful. Now, another thing is if you have your 10-year green card, you're good, right? You're good. If you have your 2-year green card and you have to go to the 10-year, that's where you have to be very careful about the spouse's threats. Um, and you can apply on your own to get the tenure without the spouse. And you do become protected because when you apply on your own based on mistreatment, such as the threat, then they can't share information with the spouse and they cannot take the information from the spouse to make a decision against you. So you become protected. We just got an approval based on that. And that spouse did constantly threaten to do that, to cancel the 2-year green card, to call immigration, and my client prevailed. If you start filing abandonment work, okay, so I answered that. See, I want to make sure. How long does it take for your green card if your mother-in-law, who is an American citizen, files for me and my wife? So 12 years. How much time it takes to get green card after VAWA approval? I'd say 6 months. I think I went through those questions already. VAWA is a great option. It just takes a little longer. Yes, it is a great option. And it does take a little longer, but I say that extra time, wait time, is so worth it. None of my clients have ever said they regret it. Why? Because they would rather wait a little longer than deal with the stress, the fear, the instability, the uncertainty of dealing with a relative or a spouse that is promising to take them to the green card, or not taking them to the green card at all, or threatening to cancel the process. My clients get peace. So as the immigration attorney, watching my clients when I first talk to them, how fearful many of them are, how emotional they are in a negative way, how traumatized they are, how hurt they are, and to see where they are by the time that we get the work permit for them, to see that transition, that evolution, is so fulfilling, because they go from this state of distress to, as yes, it's always gonna hurt, when you are experiencing mistreatment. That's scarring. It's always gonna be there. But my clients, I see the peace that comes over them because they realize that they have options to move forward, to move past the hurt, and to live a life that they want to live. They can achieve their dreams, that they can achieve their goals without having to go through all of that distress. And the thing about it is, you go through this with this person, this spouse or this relative that's they're supposed to be taking you to the green card, and you never get there. They sabotage your process, and you find that you never get there. With the VAWA process, you have control. Can an ex-employer other than your recent employer apply for your child's H-4 visa? No, it has to be. Now, if you're here on the H-2B, then it's just you have to apply based on H-2B, right? The H-4, the child on H-4 is just based on your current status is H-2B. Now, if you're working, say, on H-1B and you want your child to come on the H-4, you can look to another employer to then sponsor you. But I guess this sounds more like a H-2B, because then every few months you go to another employer for an extension. So I'm a US citizen but cannot find my naturalization certificate, and I do not know my A number. Can I still file for my wife? So if you have your passport, you don't necessarily need your naturalization certificate as long as you have your passport. How it costs for green card overall. So I'm not sure. A STEM person, what's the best way to qualify acquire a work permit? So there are different ways, and the main way to get the work permit is if you're applying for adjustment of status. And while you're going through adjustment of status, you get the work permit. Now, as a STEM person, some of the fields that could qualify you would be EB1, would be where extraordinary ability, the NIW, and then even if you're being sponsored by an employer, and you reach the adjustment of status stage, then you can apply for a work permit then. What is the overall cost to get the T visa? It depends on your case. So we want to talk to you, make sure you qualify, hear what your facts are, and then we provide the code. In order to make sure you get the right legal advice that we can determine whether you qualify, we go into a detailed consultation for 150, and then at that point we can provide you the code. USCIS denied a VAWA case because of divorce. I answered that. Um, all right, that's gonna be it for me. Hi there, Angela. It's nice to see you. Let's see. If you apply for T visa and asylum and win T visa, can you go to your country, and how long T visa? So the T visa is it's really on a case by case basis. There is a risk to travel to your country, and that risk may come at the green card stage. Because one thing with the T visa is you do have to show that you'll experience extreme hardship if you go back to your country. Now, they have stated very clearly in the policy manual that that a travel document is permitted, that they will allow the travel document. But for example, during the Trump administration, a lot of the problems happened, got the travel document, but a lot of the problems happened at the green card stage when they started to question why would you travel if in your application you said that you couldn't go back to your country. That was a Trump administration, which is different from this administration, right? So seeing that they're very clear on the travel document and your ability to get the travel document, it means that that may not be an issue anymore at the green card stage. But we also have to keep in mind that, as usual, that if there's a change in administration, what's the, what does the future look like? So what I say is take it step by step. Get to the T. You can't lose with getting to the T, right? I've never had a client say, I'm not going to apply for T because I will not get the travel document. At the point that my clients want T, they want to move on from what they've experienced. They want to have their papers and their legal right to be here. That's the first priority. Then afterwards, we evaluate on a case by case basis whether what the risks are and whether it is feasible to get that travel document. How much time you need to wait to get work permit after applying for T. So it used to be after approval, which would be a year, but now we're watching this, right? Because they've just started a policy where they will issue the work permit early. That's what they said, based on bona fide determination. So we've been submitting those applications like crazy, and I'll tell you as soon as I get the work permit, I'll tell you the timeline that it's taking. So let's hope. I'm hoping we see a timeline around 3 months to get that work permit, because they do have to do the biometrics first and then issue the work permit, the bona fide determination letter, and then the work permit. And there's a strategy to this as well. You have to apply for the work permit. We're applying for the work permit at the beginning, right at the beginning. We're not waiting for the bona fide determination first and then applying for the work permit, because that is a disadvantage. Once they see the work permit application on file, they're going to issue the work permit right after they issue the bona fide determination letter. Another thing to keep in mind is a bona fide determination letter will allow my clients to get the support they need. That could be housing, that could be anything, any additional assistance that they need, housing, medical, food that they need. Awesome. I just want to read this here to let you understand that I do have a team. And if you look at our reviews, you will see how great my team is. So grateful. Couldn't have done it without them. Now, my number one goal is to ensure that we can help as many immigrants as possible. And as an individual, I just have a few hours. All of us have 24 hours a day. So, in order to make this happen, I have created a team of attorneys, professional team that support us and my clients. And Landa says, "Thank you for my consultation today. Attorney Bria was wonderful. She shared her knowledge and gave me a breakdown. So I'm looking forward to continuing." So I'm so elated to hear this. Go ahead, you can schedule with me, Attorney Bria, and Attorney Diana, and you have the flexibility of choosing any one of our schedules. And I have, made sure that I've selected attorneys that understand my mission, that are empathetic, that are compassionate and passionate about achieving these goals for my clients. So we work very closely together to make this happen. Oh, thank you so much, Dream Queen of Hearts. Always nice to see you on here. Very nice. As you can see, I always like to connect with you. I'm traveling right now, so this is why my background is a little different. It's not the office, but I always keep in mind that I want to connect with you. I want to answer. These are also great, such great questions, so relevant, and it really helps me to share information. Your questions help me to share the relevant information that you need to empower yourself. So it's always nice to connect with you. Now, hi there, Simone. Thanks for following. I appreciate it. Now, what you can do is I try to come on live between Mondays and Fridays. I'm trying to get it back to consistently Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, working towards doing that. But in the meantime, what I say is follow me, subscribe to me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And when you see me, you'll get notification that I'm on, and you can join me and then ask your questions. So go ahead and do that, and then hopefully we can get back on our regular schedule around lunchtime. Usually, I like to come on around 12:30, but it's been um, as our team grows, as we're doing great things for our clients, it really has been a bit irregular, but uh, just bear with me and follow, and you'll still see me consistently. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks so much. Bye bye.